My name is Caroline Ferreira, the Chief of Staff at Edge and Node. It's exciting to see that we have the graph ecosystem so well represented today with indexers, delegators, supporters, etc. on the call. I will be sharing the Q&A link throughout for any questions to be answered at the end of this presentation. We do ask that any AI-generated meeting recorders, note takers, otters, bots, etc. be disabled. A quick disclaimer, as always, there are no forward-looking statements in this presentation. The agenda for today includes the Q2 2024 snapshot, a core initiatives update, GIP update, additional ecosystem updates, and we'll end with a Q&A. And with that, I'll kick it over to Max Tang, CFO at Edge and Node, to begin with the Q2 2024 snapshot.
Thanks, Caroline. Let's go directly to slide 6 and take a look at the quarter. So second quarter Curie fee was $113,000. It represented a 160% quarter-over-quarter increase and 195% year-over-year increase. Curie volume was 2.9 billion queries. It represented a 84% quarter-over-quarter increase and 712% year-over-year increase. The increase in Curie fees and Curie volume was predominantly due to the Sunrise initiative. Eva will talk a little bit more about Sunrise later, but it is the largest project since the launch of the network, and we finally completed it this quarter. Curie pricing was about $38 per million queries. It represented a 41% quarter-over-quarter increase, but a 64% year-over-year decline. As mentioned previously, we decided to adjust the pricing dynamics on the network starting in third quarter 23. So the past quarter will be the last quarter with negative year-over-year impact. Starting next quarter, we will likely start to see either flat or increase in year-over-year comparisons. Let's go to the next slide. So as mentioned, this quarter, we completed Sunrise. Hosted service endpoints are now all expired, and all subgraph usage will occur on the network. We largely, I'd say, automated the process, but projects still need to manually change their code base to switch their traffic. We've done a lot of BD outreach, and we will continue to do so in the upcoming month. We would like to thank all network participants for your hard work and support over the past few years. With that, let me turn it over to Eva.
Thank you, Max. Cool, so I'll dive into some updates. I won't go too in detail, but this is basically a lot of what we focused on the last quarter. So as Max highlighted, Sunrise of decentralized data, the Sunrise being the sunsetting of the hosted service, was the largest project we'd undertaken across core dev teams in years, and maybe one of the largest migrations in the world. So just huge shout out to the entire ecosystem of the graph and Web3 that made it possible. We're nearing around 1 billion queries per month in June. So a lot of what Max shared in terms of sort of the quarter-over-quarter growth is not fully indicative of everything that happened post-Sunrise, as Sunrise only completed in June. So I think next quarter will be really telling, of what is organic growth, meaning like net new users, not just, hosted service of the network. But, we're at nearly 1 billion queries a month. I believe we're over 6,000 subgraphs currently on the network, and this is just continuing to rise. So I would say overall this was really successful. One of the projects that I'll highlight is Aave, partially because Aave actually, they were an early graph user. They continue to use the graph stack, so our graph node, subgraphs, etc. But they went over to another provider, and in the middle of Sunrise, which was very focused on everyone who is still currently a user, Aave made the switch over to the network. So that's really enlightening. It means that people, even without sort of rigorous BD effort, targeting new users, that people are already seeing the impact of the network, and I'm excited to see more projects like Aave switch back over to the graph network. Coming back to L2, because we've brought this up several times in the last few quarters, but we are at 100% completion of this milestone. So this started in late Q3, Q4 2023, and is just the migration of everything, the entire protocol to layer 2. At this point, all rewards have been migrated to L2. So if you are still staking, whether indexing or delegating, you should quickly upgrade to Arbitrum. Otherwise, you're not earning any rewards. And yeah, looking forward to seeing the impact of the lower fees basically for new subgraphs and also indexing behavior. Recapping a bit of what we talked about as the roadmap. So this is the new era of the graph and kind of the major themes that we're still focusing on. World of Data Services naturally is still one of our largest focuses, as it embalms everything from expanding subgraph features to new data services for new use cases. But we're also working hard on really figuring out what the graph is and what we are in this transition from a hosted service to a network and beyond. We're really aware that there are so many treasure troves within the graph ecosystem, whether it's about the developer engagement and kind of the tooling that we're focusing on, which I'll talk a bit more about, or the verifiability work. And so we're really honing in over the next few months on what is the graph moving forward. And all of these basically play a big role in that. Highlighting a few big wins over the last quarter. So we enabled permissionless subgraph publishing, which basically means that if you want to build a subgraph and publish a subgraph, you don't have to go directly through a UI like Graph Studio. You could do it from your client, from the CLI. So this is really exciting as it enables different kinds of developer behavior across ecosystems, whereas up until this point, you were only able to publish a subgraph through a UI. This allows new chains that are opting for different kinds of dev experiences to be supported in the network. So for example, Ronin and Zora are two that come to mind that are really interested in this tool, but they can kind of control their dev experience in a different way. So really exciting milestone for us, and I think it expands the way that people can use subgraphs. And they still pay query fees directly through their client, so none of that goes away. No-code Substreams is one of those tools that we're working to optimize. So Substreams are a Rust-based infrastructure for raw, flat file-based data extraction. So that might be things like streams of data that you're looking for specific protocols or smart contracts. And they're quite difficult to develop, or they're just quite Rust-heavy. And so our Streaming Fast team has been focusing on no-code generation, which makes it much easier for dApps to build substreams and use substreams. So really excited about the developer tooling improvements here. Graphql Hive is a newer product that one of our teams is working on tangentially, basically making it easier to build with GraphQL overall. So on any GraphQL API, and so we as the graph, building subgraphs also get to benefit from that. So the Guild is working with Edge and Node to see how we can integrate these tools better into our suite. The graph market is a really unique new work stream that we're focusing on. And the goal is basically to enable new data services to come online onto the network and have payments, so GRT query fees, flowing through the network faster to indexers and also consumers paying them directly in the network. So this is still a beta product, but the goal is to enable these new data services listed below to more easily integrate into the network. We're still figuring out, exactly the dynamics and what this means for gateways, but it's a really exciting direction to make it easier to have new kinds of data services on the graph. Getting a little bit more in the weeds with Substreams as well, we are continuing to make performance improvements, so making them more efficient, easier to run, things like pre-caching that makes it easier to access the address data and sort of raw flat file data, and also improving the development workflow. Similar to the no-code work, the goal here really is to make sure that Substreams are easier, more modular to run, and that they really do solve a problem that's unique, and making sure that developers feel comfortable engaging with them. Another area we're focusing on, like I said, is verifiability, and we've made some progress on how we can basically make Substreams and Firehose verifiable. The goal being that we want the graph to be able to serve verifiable data across all data services, including subgraphs. And the best place for the verifiability to occur is as low level as possible, because then you can ensure that all data that is sort of extracted from those substreams or fire hoses is also verifiable. So our semiotic team has been focusing a lot on the Uniswap specific use case, and we've made quite a bit of progress there. And we're gearing towards being a solution that post EIP 444s, having the graph be a verifiable data provider for all those use cases that seek that verifiable data. Another cool tool that really increases the integrity of the graph data is Graphics, which basically tracks for any divergences between proofs of indexing between indexers. And this essentially means, any inconsistencies that nodes might have, whether it's due to the graph software or maybe just, their own operations. Nodes often have issues. And so Graphics really is a tool to help monitor and bring to light some more of these issues, such that indexers can react more quickly to ensure they're returning accurate queries. I'll touch on Scalar a little bit because we've mentioned this a few times in other meetings, but Scalar Tap basically makes efficient micropayments possible for new data services. And we are very close to completion and being in production. Over the last few months, Scalar Tap has gone through rigorous testing across our ecosystem with some indexers, core devs, and also InfraDAO as we sort of gear up for the ability to serve new data services. And yeah, we continue to march towards Horizon. Horizon, as a reminder, is the exciting upgrade to the Graph protocol to make it more modular, enable much more efficient staking, efficient payments. So we are in the final stages of auditing. Things have gone swimmingly so far, and we'll be also opening up a few bounties and kind of public bounty programs to support this launch. So look out for more GIPs and more info on what it means to interact with Horizon over the next, I would say, 2 quarters. Cool, and I'll do a quick GIP update. I think most of these were actually covered because we've been quite focused, but we still have a few GIPs in draft form related to Horizon. Some of that is feedback we're receiving from the audits. We have a few GIPs that were also kind of as a candidate. And some of these also include new chains that we're just continuing to support. You'll see those go live with marketing announcements, and you can also check them out in the forum. I think we're targeting between 3 to 5 chains per quarter at this point. And that means chains that were already on the hosted service and getting them indexing rewards supported. So indexers are fully incentivized, as well as net new chains. So chains like Ronin and Zora, for example, were net new chains over the last several months that were leveraging the CLI tool that we just built. And then some of the accepted GIPs, really table stakes of kind of what I just described we were working on, making delegation improvements for GraphNode, some subgraph availability upgrades. We're continuing to make progress on decentralizing our oracles. And so there's been a few committees set up, making sure that we have the redundancy that we need for Horizon as well. Yeah, continuing to think about the final stages of the L2 migration. So that would be deprecating access to L1. Awesome. We'll pass it on to Etienne.
Super. Hey, guys. All right. So we can go on slide 26 to give you some update on what we talked about. So as a reminder, we talked about the Sunrise Upgrade program. We started the Sunrise Upgrade program in May. It has taken a couple of weeks and ended June 20th. The goal was to incentivize users to update to the decentralized network. And we had 2 tracks. The first one, which was focused for dev, and the other one focused for the non-dev. And I think that everything went quite well. We had quite a surprising amount of participants, and we're gonna do the distribution of the reward in the coming weeks. And if you have any question on this, please reach out. We can go to slide 27. Super. So I think that some of you may have seen Graphql. Graphql is a graph explorer protocol, which was designed and built by one of our core dev, GraphOps. It was first announced in March, and over the past couple of months, it was really well built. And one can have some insight on indexers as well as on subgraph. So if one want to get some insights on who are the top indexers, as well as having some information as a macro level, as well as a micro, and to deep dive on getting some data on their rewards, query fee, as well as some historical rewards based on subgraph, you can access it, and it's all for free. And I personally now try to use it almost every week, and I think it's really one of the best tools. On slide 28, yeah. Super. So as a reminder, we talked about it, I think, for the first time in Q1. InfraDAO is a team which is led by Orion. The team is a community-led. It has been focused on 3 key parts. The first part is around chain integration. Over Q2, the team has worked on a successful number of integration from Binance Chain, Base, as well as some others. On top of that, there have been more indexers that have joined the team, which is great. If you have any question on indexing, please reach out. The team also has built a fantastic guide and educational content. Some of you, may feel that it can be hard to get, the foot out of the door to learn more how to use an indexer as well as to run one. The team has done a great job. On top of that, the team has been working on some research, which, on this slide, you see some of those. The team also has released their new website where you can have some more information on their latest news. So as InfraDAO is more focused around indexing, the Builders DAO is focused on subgraph. If you have any question on the subgraph, they are the team to talk to. The team also has been very active, as there have been quite some questions from the dApps and from team around how to support at the sunrise phase, and the team has been great support on this. If you have any question, the team has released a few weeks ago now a new website, which is at buildersdao.tech. In terms of events, so I would say that the biggest event of Q2 was around ETHCC. The first one, 0 to dApp Day, which was a bit before ETHCC. We had 4 workshops. All of the workshops were led by the core dev, and we had also tutoring and support. On top of that, at ETHCC, we had a booth where we counted around 450 people who came. We had about 5 talks from the main event at ETHCC, as well as some side event. We had about 30 plus people from the graph, so which I think for this year would be one of the biggest events that the team went. Overall, we also had one of the best events where we had more than 1,000 people who came to the VIP sunrise party. And finally, as a reminder, we have the House of Web3, which is a co-creation space in San Francisco. We have about more than 120 people, which are members. If you want to join, you can. And you can attend some great events from Crypto Mondays, Crypto Underground, as well as some other events from the crypto ecosystem. Thank you, everyone. And now I will let Max to give you some more insights.
Thanks, Etienne. Let's go to the next slide. So a recap on Curate fees and Curate pricing. So second quarter Curate fee was $113,000. It represented a 160% quarter-over-quarter growth and 195% year-over-year growth. The growth in Curate fees was mostly due to the Sunrise initiative. We saw a 7-fold increase in volume with projects of all sizes switch to the network. The increase in Curate fees was tempered by Curate price. It was $30 per million Curates in second quarter 24. It represented a 41% quarter-over-quarter increase, but a 64% year-over-year decline. Curate price will likely stay at these levels for now, and fourth quarter 23 and first quarter 24, as you see on the charts, were outlier months. Going forward, we expect Curate fee growth to be more consistent with Curate volume growth. So as Eva mentioned, this quarter, Streaming Fast launched a payment gateway. In the middle of the quarter, the team experimented with on-chain payments through the network's billing contract with their Substreams data service, which was still off-chain in second quarter 24. So for transparency, we put this on-chain revenue as pro forma in second quarter 24. It was $19,000 for the quarter. With this pro forma Substreams revenue, total revenue on the network would have been $132,000. So with our A World of Data Services initiative, we expect Substreams and other data services to be fully on the network in second quarter, or rather second half of 24. And Curate volume was 2.9 billion in second quarter 24. It represented a 84% quarter-over-quarter increase and a 712% year-over-year increase. From first quarter 22 through second quarter 24, Curate volume grew at a compound rate of 417%. Subgraph deployments Curate was over 6,500. It represented a 365% increase quarter-over-quarter and a 747% increase year-over-year. So one thing to note here is that we actually tightened the definition of this metric and deduplicated subgraphs that have Curates on multiple versions, multiple concurrent versions. So prior quarter numbers were revised down accordingly, but overall the growth has been pretty strong. It grew largely in line with Curate volume. The increase in Curate volume was mostly due to new subgraph additions as expected from the Sunrise initiative. Then at the end of second quarter 24, we saw 7,156 active subgraphs. It represented a 267% quarter-over-quarter increase and a 570% year-over-year increase. From first quarter 22 through second quarter 24, active subgraphs grew at a compound rate of 272% per year. One thing to note here is that the number includes L1 subgraphs. Note that the protocol is now 100% on L2. About 995 L1 subgraphs will become inactive in third quarter 24. So there will be some attrition to this number. That being said, this will have little impact on the overall Curate volume since these L1 subgraphs are actually not getting Curates at this moment. In second quarter 24 alone, 5,069 subgraphs were created, and all of these were on L2. In second quarter 24, we had 239 monthly active paying data consumers. It represented a 21% decline quarter over quarter and a 7.2% increase year over year. The decline was actually due to the rollout of the 100,000 queries per month free query plan along with Sunrise. Now, many small volume data consumers is now on the Studio's free tier. In second quarter 24, we had 42 data consumers of above 10 million queries a month. It is roughly say double what we saw in the first quarter of 24. So a quick recap on inflation. This quarter, we observed the rate of issuance of about 2.86%. It was consistent with long-term average of about 2.81%. Then regarding quality of service, in second quarter 24, query success rate was 99.3%, largely in line with the 99.2% observed in first quarter 24. Median latency was 113 milliseconds, largely in line with 109 milliseconds in first quarter 24. Both query success rate and latency were below our target, but considering the Sunrise and the 700% increase in network traffic, this quality service performance is actually above our expectations. A quick recap on our indexer and delegator community. So active indexer count at the end of the quarter was 150. We haven't put a lot of resources in recruiting new indexers as we focus on other parts of the network. But as mentioned previously, we are still actively looking for good indexers in the Asia Pacific region. If you know anybody, please reach out to us. We ended the quarter with 177,000 delegators. It was a 77% increase quarter over quarter. Most of these were small delegators through the Coinbase Learn and Earn campaign. With that, let me turn it over to Caroline.
Thank you, Max. Some thank yous specific to this quarter. Thank you to Craig and Michael of Reciprocal Ventures for their unwavering support and insightful guidance. Thank you for the tireless efforts of all the DAOs and Graph Guardians for their help and dedication to support. Thank you, Payne, Alipra, the Data Nexus team, and Sunsu for their commitment and precision in triage. Thank you to Spencer Noon and the R Network team for all of the strategic support. And thank you to all who celebrated the sunrise of decentralized data with us, whether you were in Brussels or if you celebrated with us globally. How you can help, we're hiring for several key positions across the Graph ecosystem. We've got several roles open at Edge and Node, a few open at the Graph Foundation, the Guild, and Semiotic Labs. I'll share that link out shortly. Co-create with us at the House of Web3. Move your delegation to L2 if you have not already, and continue to delegate on the Graph to help secure the network. And with that, I'll start our Q&A. We had a couple submissions here. The first question was from Derek from Data Nexus. Is there a recommended path to gain indexer support for newer networks that deploying permissionlessly through the CLI through Discord?
I can take that one. Definitely Discord, but I would also say indexer office hours. I think every chain status upgrade should be happening there. And then if you want to be proactive, just checking the forum, because we do dynamically update the different statuses of each chain. So you'll know already which chains are coming down the pipeline.
Next question. With such an increase in query volume, will that impact price per query?
Yeah, I can take that one. So there's going to be very limited impact on price per query because pricing is actually set by the gateway. And there is a demand and supply element in it, but it's largely a config change. Currently, we're targeting about $40 per million queries, and this is actually not going to change in the next couple quarters.
The next question. Can you comment on the staked indexer shrink and whether or not it's a concern?
Yeah, I can take this one. Regarding quality of service, it's not a concern because we see high quality indexers actually concentrated in the top, I would say probably between 10 to 50 indexers. They are actively in Discord, they serve queries, and they participate in discussions. So regarding quality of service, it's not a concern. There are indexers who spin up and just for the rewards, and some of these have some attritions as market dynamics changed. But I would say the only area that we want to expand or want to more concentrated effort in expanding is Asia Pacific. We currently only have a few indexers in that region, and we are actively recruiting for new ones in the region. So please reach out if you have any recommendations.
And Orion also just posted in the chat how to get in touch with him through Discord or Telegram. Looks like he'll also be in Asia this fall, September 7th through 22nd, and in Thailand. Okay, next question. Are these cited inflation figures on an annualized basis?
Yeah, these are on annualized basis, correct.
Any other questions that anyone has on the top of their minds? That was all of those that submitted. Okay. Well, if anything comes to mind, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We will be sharing the YouTube video recap of this call so that you can share with your teams if they missed it, and hope you all have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your Q3.
Thank you all for joining us.
Thanks, everybody.